Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and welcome back to the CoffeeCast ProCast edition, where I am bringing you the ace match, game number 5, between SKMC, who is spawning on the lower left-hand side of ESL Antigua Shipyard, and on the top right, we do have EGPuma spawning as our blue Terran player. And what an incredible showing these two players have given us so far in this match. SKMC winning that first game, Puma coming back, rallying up, winning the next two, putting MC in a position where he needed to win game number 4. And you know what? MC delivered with a beautiful execution of a 8-gate, well, I guess this isn't, totally standard, 8-gate Blink Stalker. I mean, pretty much just overwhelmed his opponent with amazing Blink Micro, and was able to win game number 4. I wouldn't say handily, it was a pretty back and forth game for a little bit there, but towards the end of the game, he had a pretty good handle. So now, both players tied 2-2 in this IEM Best of 5 series. Winner of this game will advance to I don't know what, because I didn't check the brackets and IEM is over quite a while ago. To be honest, I don't even know who won. I feel kind of crappy about that. I should probably find out. Yeah. I would love to see MC do either that Blink Stalker build again this game, or something completely different than what he has been doing, which I would call that the Colossus. I do not want to see that Colossus transition again, because Puma has been so good against that. I just don't feel MC would have a very good chance if he went for that super standard Colossus play that you've been seeing a lot of players doing lately. So I like MC's chances a lot more doing that 8-gate Blink Stalker, doing some sort of High Templar Archon play, and I'm interested to see what he will bring out on this map. It should be a good game, as we are spawning cross positions on Antigua Shipyard. I do not know if it's forced cross on this map, or if that was luck of the draw. But this is a pretty big map when you are looking at cross positions, a long way all the way across here into your opponent's natural base. And another reason I love this map, easy to take a third, and once your opponent takes out the rocks, easy to assault the third. So it's safer in the early game to go ahead and go up to a quick third base, but in the later game it can be a little bit more difficult to hold on to, which I think is a very nice balancing feature of this map. And overall, I'd say Antigua Shipyard, definitely one of my top 3 favorite maps to play on and to cast, just because it can offer such good games. My favorite, I'll be honest, Daybreak. I love Daybreak, especially with that rich Vespian Geyser and that those mineral fields with only, 6 mineral patches. I think it's a really nice map. Now, oh gosh, Puma actually going for a 1-1-1 strategy right now. I don't know if he's exactly going to be looking to go in for a 1-1-1 timing push, but he is definitely executing a Destiny Cloud Fist with a couple of Hellions coming out onto the map. Hellions, kind of an interesting option in this matchup. Meanwhile, MC just trying to push up, see what's going on. I think he's a little bit nervous this game, as he should have been in the previous game. Not being able to get up and see what's going on, being able to see that there is a bunker being built up there, also another way to make your opponent nervous. And once again, just a couple of Hellions coming out. Looks like we might be seeing a Hellion drop, as there is a medevac coming out as well as a third Hellion here. And Marines loading up into this main bunker. MC, probably a little nervous right now, but still doing the same thing that he always does, dropping the 2 additional gateways, not opting to go for his robotics real quickly just to be safe, and dropping down another gateway, actually going to go up to 4 gates. This should be kind of interesting, as he doesn't know what's going on, and again, I think he'll be just fine with what he's doing. I don't think he's in any danger from 3 Hellions. But these 3 Hellions aren't even getting dropped, and actually the medevac actually just sitting up over the army right now. And Hellions are going to try to run into the main base, but sentries are back to defend this. Beautiful force field by MC to hold that off, and now the Hellions just going to be taking out what few probes are over here. However, these sentries do count as light units, so the Hellions could be able to take these sentries out as well. They can get this one last sentry, might be able to get up into the main base, but no, there is another sentry on the map, needs to make sure to force field that off. And yes, he does get the force field down. This one Hellion surviving with just 13 hit points left. The sentry might be able to mop that up, and indeed he does. A very, very nice hold by MC, considering he had no idea that was coming. And I don't know why those Hellions were not dropped into the main base. I think that I think that may have been more effective. Now, this one Stalker is going to once again fall just like in the last game. However, the second Stalker is going to get away this time and run wee all the way home. Or just kind of not go home. And going to take a little bit of hull damage on that, but not too much once again. Little handful of Marines running with this medevac here, trying to take a little shots wherever he can. Anytime you can waste a medevac's energy, that is good, even if it has plenty of energy left. Always look for little opportunities to do small amounts of damage like that. Looks like we might be having a Marine drop coming into the main base. This is going to get scouted out by this Stalker, however, so MC should know that this is coming. And yes, indeed, did take a pot shot at that medevac, but doesn't really have anything in position to defend against this. In fact, all his Stalkers are down on the low ground right now, just getting a few Zealots and a couple of sentries warped into the main base. Might be able to use a force shield to force these Marines out into the open here. But I think his reinforcements are going to get into the main base just in time. Where are those Stalkers? There they are, finally coming in and trying to pop the Guardian Shield, but that sentry does die, but did manage to get quite a few of the Marines before the medevac was able to load up and run off. And now I would say MC is sitting in a pretty good position, as his expansion has been secured for quite some time. Does not have a big Harvester advantage, however, because he did lose some to those Hellions earlier, and actually a couple of Stalkers and a Zealot suiciding themselves into the main base. Might be looking to try to block this Command Center for a little bit. Might be looking to do a little bit of damage, but just ran straight past that bunker. And again, having a couple more Stalkers that might be looking to run past that bunker as well, but no, instead falling back. Did manage to take out a couple of SCVs there. And now we do have 10 workers killed to the 3 of MC. So getting those extra SCV kills up on the ramp there, definitely a nice little thing. You don't want to be behind 10 Harvester kills at 10 minutes in the game. That can be kind of a painful experience. But we see both players fairly even in that Harvester count. MC actually just a little bit ahead with those Chrono Boosts on his Nexus. And that's one thing I love about Protoss vs. Terran, is that you can just be laying Chrono Boosts on your Nexus all day long, and it really doesn't matter. And a little bit different in other matchups. But Protoss vs. Terran, you're normally fairly safe to go ahead and just Chrono Boost out your Harvesters like crazy. We do have MC once again going to be going for Blink, and I love this strategy. I really hope that he does follow it up with a little bit of Charge Lot Archon as well, or maybe just some sort of High Templar play in general. Just because very powerful versus bio balls, which has been by far the bulk of the force in all the games for Puma. And really, that's all we're going to be seeing on the ground, as there's probably not going to be any Colossus for a little bit. Pardon me, off of only 2 base. I can't see Colossus popping out to try to fry away once you already do have that Twilight Council getting the blink. Over on the other side of things, Puma just now getting his combat shield. Normally you will see that quite a bit earlier in the game, just now getting his +1 weapons as well. That's one thing that has not been super prevalent in this matchup, is the upgrades, which kind of surprises me, because I would actually say that upgrades are most important in PvT, more so than any other matchup, just because of the high DPS of the Marines. And actually looks like Puma might be elevating up into the main base. No, just shooting at that gateway from the low ground there, not able to do all that much damage to it, just take it down about a quarter of its health, which is about half of its shields there. And Puma, nice little engagement angle there, but not really all that much damage for MC. Might be looking to push out with the Stalkers. Might be able to pick off a medevac, actually. That would always be a very nice. Blinking forward, I don't know if I quite agree with the blink forward, as Puma could have turned around and done a little bit of damage there to MC, but it turned out to be just fine. Going to pick off 2 medevacs. Oh, almost even getting a third. That third medevac, only 20 health left on it. So maybe in the end that wasn't all that bad of a decision. I am always just very wary about blinking forward, especially against a stimmed army. Stalkers and sentries are going to go ahead and try to push up here. I don't know if he quite has the numbers he needs, because there are quite a few Marauders on top of this ramp here. Some forces are going down in fairly nice position to hold back those SCVs, but in the end it's not going to quite be enough, and MC is going to have to fall back just to survive and fight another day with this army. A lot more Stalkers coming in as reinforcements, but it's once again not going to be enough, as there are heavy Marauder numbers on top of this ramp, as well as a couple of extra bunkers just to be safe, because if MC did decide to push with the full force of his army, might be able to do some damage, especially once Charge finishes up. And it looks like indeed we are seeing Charge coming out. Templar Archive, couple of forges finally start getting those upgrades out onto the field, and I feel like this is a great transition for MC. On the other hand, Puma doing a nice transition himself, getting that Ghost Academy out onto the field to be able to start EMPing those sentries. He's noticed that his opponent is going for these very sentry heavy armies, and so the EMP is going to be able to neutralize that advantage of MC in all of those force fields. And also, unbeknownst to him, he's also going to be able to counter those High Templar with that. I do not believe he scouted that quite yet. Stark's actually up on top of that Marine Marauder force there. Not really able to do all that much damage. Has to blink backwards to be able to get out alive. I never want to try to directly engage Marine Marauder ball like that with just that small number of blink stalkers there. 1-1 coming out for MC. On the other side of things, we do have 0-1 for Puma. So does have that one weapons upgrade, has a slight advantage over his opponent, but with the double forge upgrades, MC will be just fine with getting those upgrades out as quickly as he can. Mobius Reactor just about to finish up. You'll notice the beautiful timing on the Ghost in accordance to the Mobius Reactor. Ghosts are going to finish up just a little bit after that finishes. Mobius Reactor increases the starting energy of the Ghost for those of you who do not play Terran and do not know that. Also getting Cloaking for his Ghost. That's a little bit of a less used ability for the Ghost. And while we're talking about the Ghost, I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that the Ghost not quite as viable as they used to be with that snipe capability, only doing 25 plus 25 now versus Psionic. And it used to be that they did a lot more damage, and it was viable to be sniping Zealots, was viable to be sniping pretty much everything that was biological. I understand the need to nerf against the TVZ late game, but I feel Blizzard did not quite look into it fully enough before making their decision. Puma, like I was talking about earlier, opening up these back rocks for an alternate attack route into that third base. Looks like he's even bringing in the factory just for that extra firepower. And not quite wanting to engage quite yet. Does have the two Ghosts in the head of his army to go ahead and lay down the EMPs, probably on top of those sentries, and even on top of these Archons now that he sees it there. Beautiful EMP goes down on top of all of those sentries. Only one sentry left with any sort of energy, and even that gets EMP'd in the end. Chargeon's getting straight up on top of that army. Archon doing a lot of damage, and even enough energy to lay down a storm on top of that army, and that's going to be it for that attack. Puma falling back quite a bit, and even a defensive-ish storm being laid down, just throwing that storm down to halt any sort of retreat out of Puma. Beautiful job with that control by MC. Really fairly even trade in that engagement. And now MC is going to be cleaning up the remnants of this army, even blinking up and taking out what's left of the army. Chargeon trying to run up. Marauders are in the front, picking up quite a few Stalkers here. Chargeon really need to get into that, tank some of that damage, as Stalkers cannot take fire from Marauders all day long like they are here. Could also maybe even blink up, take out a couple of medevacs there, and indeed that is exactly what he's going to do. Take out 2 additional medevacs. Now it does look like MC might be pushing out across the map with this, might be looking to finally start putting up that constant pressure that you will see so often in that late game. Might be wanting to take out that third base, but doesn't quite have the force for yet, as this is still a fairly decent army out of Puma. Both players not really all that high in that army count, though both players going to need to be very, very careful about losing their forces, because neither player can really afford to sacrifice a lot at this point in time. How many gateways do we have on the map right now? MC is going to need quite a few to be able to engage this. Not enough, I feel. Even has a few units back that could come up and help attack with him. Indeed, those will be coming up, especially with 3 Archons. You really, really need those all in that map, in that engagement with you. And taking a 4th base in the middle of the map, which is no longer gold, mind you. No longer gold. Nice little Marine Marauder ball out of our Terran player here. However, he is behind on upgrades. 2-2 for MC, 1-1 for Puma. And it looks like MC doesn't once again have that army composition that he wants. Has enough for 1 storm on top of this army. That 1 storm could be very, very crucial. Needs to make sure to get that High Templar up to lay that down. Not the best force field, and is forced to fall back after cutting his own zealots off from his forces once again there. And really not quite the desired effect with those force fields. Might want to save that storm now because his opponent is not in the best positioning. And actually loses that storm. I guess if you're going to lose it, if you can't use it, Beautiful EMP going down on that High Templar, taking away its Storm ability. But the Archon's doing a lot of damage to these biological balls. Archon 43 damage plus splash versus biological. Even has a couple of zealots over here in that third base, harassing the middle line, harassing that command center. MC is starting to pull ahead a little bit, I feel, but still does not quite have the force that he needs to be able to finish off his opponent. 112 to 74 supply, a lot of zealots on the field. High Templar with Storm are prepared to start pushing up across. I do not see any ghosts left on the map ready to EMP. I don't see any ghosts at all. There's one ghost with enough energy for one EMP. Going to have to make it count if he wants it to be good, though. Trying to EMP, gets one High Templar, but not the other two High Templar. So two Storms do remain onto this field, and that could prove to be very, very valuable for MC. But actually, I almost think an Archon might be better, as there really isn't all that much left on the field for Puma to be engaging with. MC, once again, though, doesn't quite have the numbers to just finish his opponent off. Level 3 armor and weapons coming on the way for MC. Level 2 armor on the way for Puma, and there we go, getting a couple of Archons made, as I think MC is realizing that Storm, not the greatest use right now, as there really, once again, isn't all that much to Storm. Not even really anything to feedback. Might be seeing a drop come out of Puma here, but I don't know if it's wise to split his forces like that, because right now I really feel like Puma needs every single unit that he can get to defend. Though he might be looking to try to cripple the production capabilities of his opponent and take out these two pylons here. Might be able to do some fairly decent damage to the protection capabilities of MC. A couple Stalkers running up here into the third, just to start harassing that just a little bit. Zealous and Archon just kind of in position to intercept any army that might come in to take out the Stalkers. In the meantime, the drop is going to be landing out in the main base, which is not quite hitting what it needs to, going after those probes on the gas first, and finally going up to start sniping those pylons. MC realizes the danger he might be in, begins running up with those charge lots and Archons to begin assaulting here. Has a couple of zealots back home to start defending against this, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They are going to be able to take out one Marauder at least, which is definitely going to be a huge benefit. They're getting a big warping of units there as well to begin holding off that drop, and now dropping out a beautiful Storm on top of that biological army, and a medevac with no energy left to heal. Finally getting a couple more medevacs in to start healing. But MC just still not quite able to finish off its opponent. Did lose a couple of gateways, definitely a hindrance in this game, but I still don't know if Puma has quite enough to be able to do the counterattack that he's beginning to push out and looks ready to do. A couple of Archons on the field. This is quite a nice force out of MC. A nice engagement angle by Puma, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Right up on the ramp, even clicking his Ghost, trying to take out those Zealots as quickly as he can. Ghost very good against those light Zealots, doing 24 damage, but it's not quite going to be enough. The charge, like getting on top of that army, just dealing so much damage. And there's the GG by Puma in game number 5. MC with a beautiful rally back after that first game, losing the next two, and finally able to pick off 2 of his own in a row to be able to win out the series 3-2. Beautiful game by both these players. EGPuma holding on once again, just long enough to give us a great showing in the end, but it was not quite enough. His biologic forces not quite able to handle that High Templar Archon charge lot mixture out of MC. And I really don't feel like there's much left to say about these games. They have all spoken for themselves. MC doing a great play, an exemplary Protoss player. If you are looking to learn, definitely look through these again and just kind of look at his styles. Look at that sentry push, because it is very good. And Puma doing a great job holding on, and pushing back in game numbers 2 and 3. And no game except the first game was really a raffle stomp by any means. And I think both players definitely put up a good fight all around. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and I thank you for joining me here on the CoffeeCast. Please feel free to check out my blog at coffeebreak.blogspot.com. That is coffeebreak with a 0.blogspot.com, and I post about becoming an amateur caster there, some of the problems you guys might be having if you are looking to begin streaming yourselves, and I also post a little bit about what's going on with current strategies in the game right now. With that, I once again thank you for joining me here, and this is Coffee Break, signing off.